Corrections to
Progress.
Hi, Diane, we're starting the meeting.
Oh, that's right.
We just got here. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Corrections to and approval of the past minutes of
As you will-
April 4th,
As you will see there is corrections to the minutes that Pat was so kind enough to
2022.
tell me. The date on the top of the minutes was wrong, so.
well, you crossed it off. You put
All
April
right,
4th.
okay.
That's acceptable.
Okay, well, it's not what's on mine. Right. What time?
7:39 I have.
Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from April.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Gone. Correspondence?
No.
No correspondence? Okay. Finances? I don't even know who's doing finances nowadays.
It is
Oh,
Charlie.
Charlie.
Well, all right, there's a
He
new
got lost
finance
between one
director and there was another new finance director, and our finances are the same as I went over last meeting, so it's in the minutes. And I still don't know if they're still trying to figure out whether that t-shirt is separate or included. We don't know.
Okay.
So we're meeting in June, so maybe we can
Yeah,
table
try
that
to-
till June?
Yeah, that we'll try to find out again.
Okay. All right. Citizens' comments? No,
There is an attendee in the audience.
so there's no correspondence or comments from the citizens. Okay, boy, we're right on time. Trail updates. May 14th, work party for clearing airline
Yeah,
of
you were
obstacles
cutting trees down this
before
past weekend?
mowing.
So
You didn't say you were. I could have gone to help.
I know, so I'll just say how it happened. My friend who helps me do the trails, Logan, called me on like Wednesday or texted me and said, hey, how about doing some trail work on this Saturday? And I'm kind of like, okay, like he's volunteering his time. I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
I didn't know we met at 8:30 and I didn't get home until 4.
Wow.
Yeah, so we did the whole airline trail from Mechanicsville all the way to the state line.
Wow.
We cut any trees that were on the sides, like people cut the trees,
yeah.
but they cut them at the trail. So we
kind
just-
of, setting up for our mowing and stuff. So
Really,
nothing's in the
we
way
did,
of
yeah.
mowers.
So we moved like over by Lowell Davis there. There was actually a tree that fell on that one side and it was like 3 trees there. Like
Yeah.
we cleaned all that, threw it in the woods
Perfect.
more.
Thank you.
There is one problem spot that we found on there that I can show people the picture. I didn't post it anywhere, but somebody had cut. This is probably the best one. Somebody had cut that tree and you can see the hole there.
Yikes.
So that's right by the trail there. And what had happened is they cut the end of the tree off at the trail.
Oh.
I know.
So they cut the tree off its trail. And what happens is the tree kind of fell down a little bit lower and it got into the drainage ditch. And then all the leaves and sticks and stuff got against it and kind of made a dam. So the water diverted around close to the trail. So the trail is the stone dust part of the trail is not washed out, but it's right to the edge there. So there's a kind of a hole there.
Where is it located?
That's right behind the condos.
Wow.
And that big clump of trees kind of fell down a couple of years ago. And I want to say, we have somebody that follows our trail page that helps us out and has cut things in the past. So we left it. We've never done anything with it. But like I said, I noticed it like maybe a few weeks ago. So we cut all of that stuff out and then we raked out the leaves in that area so that everything kind of kept moving through there. So it's not going to wash out anymore, but it needs to be addressed. Also, right across the trail from there, there's a pile of rocks. It's not any kind of Indian pile that we've seen in other places. It just looks like they threw up stuff off the trail. So it's not even really a pile, but so we can actually probably take some of those and fill the hole, but then we'll need some kind of soil or something to put over that to fill it in. So definitely something we need to plan for because we don't have a way to get material there. Right behind the condos. So they would have to come off as it was 197 over there.
No, that's not 197.
What's the road?
12.
No, not 12. The main road where Anya's is.
Oh,
193.
193. I always say 197 and it's 193. 193. But I'm saying you,
Off of 12, but 193.
right. So you'd have to come up off there and drive up to the air, because if you come from the other way, there's like a cart bridge or something that you can't drive over with any car or a piece of
Right.
equipment, like a Kubota, yes, but I don't think you.
When they
How
did
big is the-
replace the old bridge.
How big is the bridge going over the highway? You could drive over that,
Which one? The one that they placed?
the one that was up on, no.
The old railroad,
The old railroad.
over the highway.
Oh,
Over
you
the
can drive over that, yes. Oh, yeah, that used to take trains. We drove over it with the truck. So I'm not worried about that. That drove trains went over that, so that was a lot heavier than a vehicle. So we drove over that and the new bridge that they put in. It's rated at 7 tons. So I don't know if you can really take a dump truck or something over there. The other thing is it is a state trail. They could very easily come from that little DPW work area they have there and drive right. It's like 0.2 of a mile from there with their front end loader and probably just go dump a bucket of things in there and it would be done.
If they just drop it off, we could get a work crew to spread it around.
Right.
It's been active over there because that's where they're staging all the new storm drains and stuff.
Right. But they have tons of material over there
Yeah.
too, like big piles. Like they
Yeah.
could take one scoop and just fill the hole. It would be nice, but it'd probably take an act of
Yeah.
God to.
You can send a request and you might get it in.
No, but
There's nobody at the Department of Public Works.
Not at this
No.
time.
They don't have anyone in
Right.
charge.
That's what I'm.
Yeah.
Except Amy can approve, I'm sure.
Hmm?
Amy, first selectman could probably approve that.
Well, still, it's a state trail and like John says, you do have the state over there. Be nice if they could do it.
There's nothing stopping the Trails Committee from reaching out to CT Deep.
Mhm.
I mean, the worst they can say is, no, they don't have the manpower either, which is probably really the response you're gonna get, but
Right.
that's why they don't do it in the first place. But
But like the
under
last-
the circumstances,
But like
since
the
we
last time
don't
they
have
could
it,
contact DOT and
Yeah.
maybe DOT could.
right, who's our contact for that? Like, wouldn't we, the new
Well,
guy there? But
for which, Deep?
yes,
Yes. Scott Bushy is DOT, and Brian Wilson right now is filling the gap since Lori Giannotti retired. I am going to be talking to Brian Wilson on Thursday on a con call, but it's about stuff for Trainwreck Park and the grant. I can try to remember to raise it with him, but probably makes more sense to send that separately. Just directly from Trails.
In the chain though, the one. I can't remember his name.
Well, there's Matt Quinn.
that's what I'm thinking of, Matt.
I'll start there.
I think Matt's more in the field, so I think you just might have more trouble reaching him. But it's worth trying to contact him. He's a wicked nice guy.
Okay. So, anyways, for the trail, that's what we did. He called me, we went and cleared all that stuff. It was very nice of him, to, offer his time. He cuts all the trees. I'm pretty much the labor guy and throw everything in the woods, which
You
I'm
do it
fine
so
with.
well.
Yeah. So, it was good. He did ask me about a trail shirt. And I said, well, I'll ask. I mean, I don't know why we couldn't give him one. He does a lot of work for us. Yeah, I didn't want to take one without asking, so that's why I wanted to bring it up.
He
see what
gave
was
us
on.
more than $20 worth of work.
Well, that's it.
He's brought his mower down. He's helped us for years,
Yeah,
literally. So
okay.
it's like, how do I get a trail shirt? And actually, I'm not gonna lie, he was recruiting people. We'd see people on the trail and I had my trail shirt on because again, you see a truck on the trail and 2 guys in it and you're like, all right, what's going on? But we would let people know, hey, yeah, we're clearing trees. And I, kind of show my trails thing because I wore my shirt. And he was recruiting him. He goes, oh, well, he goes, you like using the trails? He said, you should join the trails committee. They need help. I'm like, you're doing an awesome job. You're like an ambassador for us.
Why isn't he on the Trails Committee?
Well, he does a lot of stuff and he used to live in Thompson, but now he lives in Woodstock.
He's
So,
on that one with you then.
yeah,
Okay.
he's
And he
always
used to
been
be
there.
where he's worked up, right?
He's still on Dudley. He works as a
Still on.
town employee in the town of Dudley. Yeah.
Just find out what.
Okay. Not to mess with him while we're here.
He's probably an extra large, not even seeing a guy, he's an
Yeah.
extra large.
But I'll message him right now.
Yeah,
So anyways, that got all done. And we're ready for, again, Saturday, not this Saturday, a week from this Saturday is the trails cleanup day that we have. So we're hoping to get some more volunteers to walk along the trail and clean any of the stuff up. Like I said, we cut stuff that was big, but we didn't get fussy and we did the whole trail. So still walking. I didn't see a lot of trash, which is nice, but I would say if they could take trash bags and then just pick up stuff that rocks and stuff and maybe a rake, if there's something to just move a little bit of pile or something and just so we can mow and not worry about hitting stuff.
Just the prep work.
Whatever we think. I don't know what we're going to get for volunteers. Like if we mow, that's going to probably take 2 people. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing to do that day only because we've never done it. So we're going to have to set up and see how we drive it and, you know, that sort of thing.
I'd rather not wait until July when the weeds are starting to be 3 feet tall and they're
Yeah.
turning into small trees to be trying out the mowing.
So I agree with that. And then I would also say that the weed whacker echo thing that we have with the blade on the end, we're probably going to need that in some places because getting close to the drainage ditch in a few spots, there's a lot of saplings and they're not that big. They're only like a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, but maybe somebody might be able to whack that stuff back a little bit just because if we let it keep growing and growing, it's just going to get out of control. And I don't think we can get the mower that close because one of the wheels will probably be in the water at that point. So not the whole thing, but in a few spots that needs to be done.
So the day that they're cleaning up trash bags, rakes,
Yep.
there's a bunch of hand clippers.
Well, John, maybe that'd be a good time, if you want to bring the trailer over to my house, I can drive the end of Sandan with the thing and all the, you know, all the hand tools in the back of the thing. And we can go down from there. We had it over there before. And
People
Charlie and I
walk,
went.
they might
Can you drive the mower over from your house?
I mean, you could,
Maybe
but
another
it's,
time.
yeah. And the other thing I'm going to say is he'd be by himself, and that's kind of a lot to me because we haven't really used it to figure out how to get it there, offset it, and then see how it's going to go down the trail as far as that, because we haven't used it yet at all. We mowed some just testing it that time. So
you're gonna check what time you want people to start. And the 2 people, 2 of the women from the New England Mountain Bike Company approached me at the ribbon cutting. And they said they were interested in getting, they have people who will work. So if I can get the contact from Charlie, I don't have the contact, then I'll tell them in an email that we're doing this and tell them to check the Facebook page for detail.
yeah, so it is on there as an event on our trails page. This was an event tonight's meeting, and then I have that event on there. I haven't put the next meeting on there, but that work day is on there. So you have to sign in to the network.
There should be one that you can link to automatically without a passport. It's like CT. CT public Wi-Fi. It says sign is required, but it's not password protected.
Oh, okay.
At least it shouldn't be.
Yeah, you just have to agree to the terms, I think. Because it just connected me. I can tell you the time.
Lyanne is on, Valerie is on, and Angela Offier, who is a member of the public. Did I say your name right, Angela? Is it Offier?
She's.
Yes, yeah, I don't know if my microphone is working.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
So the cleanup, I have it scheduled as an event in the trails page on Facebook from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So 4 hours I put it for. So East Thompson Road. So I'm going to say at East Thompson Road and New Road is where I plan to have the meeting and see how many people we get and then disperse people kind of from there and what we're going to do as far as that. Again, if we can get like 2 groups, then I think maybe we can start one at like Lowell Davis walking towards Sandam Road and start another group at Sandam Road walking towards there. That's the section that really needs the mowing, I think, the most. if we get more people, then we could have another group, say, start at like Mechanicsville or something and walk towards, well, obviously into Thompson. So it just depends on what we get for people that want to volunteer and come. If it's only us, then there's only a few of us. So again, we can mow, but it's going to take 2 people to mow probably, and then the other people to walk. But
We can't do anything till after 2 o'clock, but if you want to text me what happened,
okay.
then, you know, if there's a section that didn't get done, maybe.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie, I think most of the trail wasn't super bad. I mean, some stuff needs to be moved and we weren't really getting into that because we were cutting stuff, but it's not super bad, I didn't think.
Do you have garbage?
We do have garbage bags. They're in the trailer. The regular ones. And again, if we get done at 1, I could throw those in my truck and we could take them to the transfer station. That should be fine.
And what day is this?
Saturday, a week from Saturday, the 14th of May.
You already told me you were busy.
He did, that's right.
Karen has all our calendars.
Let me tell you that when I was in like 3 or 4 bands, I knew where every musician in Greater Boston was at any given time. Oh, you're working with me. No, you're working with this guy. No, you're working with this guy.
Any other questions or any other things, concerns about the work party?
Plan our follow-up because we'll have another meeting in June.
So we talked quickly, it came up about the follow-up, and I don't know, just thoughts, because we can talk about it next month and that's fine, but just again, June, July, and August, when they're hot, a lot of things going on, people do take vacation, so I don't know, again, just something to think about for next meeting when we do talk about it is, I don't know, do we wait till September to do the next one? I know it's a long time away, but
Because we're gonna have to mow the way things grow in the
So-
summer unless it's a very dry
Yep.
summer.
But I'm also thinking that if we're gonna do mowing, that we don't put it out for everyone, because we
No,
can only
no,
have
you-
2 people to
Yeah,
mow.
you
So
don't want-
I'm not saying we do nothing in the interim. I'm saying as far as a work party that gets put on Facebook
Right,
and we
right.
ask
So
for volunteers to
John,
help
do
us.
we do fisherman's walk,
Right.
or do we do, you know, another area?
But I think we're gonna do the mowing, like, we're gonna have to figure it out, like, hey, when can 2 people, when can we get the trailer there? And like, when do we wanna do a mowing? And that's amongst us, I think, because you're only gonna need really maybe 1 person to walk and 2 people in the Kubota or something like that and mow. Like, I don't think we're gonna need more than 3 people. Even 2 people would probably be good to mow. And we can do that in June, July, and August. However we wanna do it, whatever needs to be done. Like I said, I think that the more that we mow it, not the more that we mow it, but if we keep up on it, it's not gonna be super bad.
Yeah.
Like, we shouldn't have to be like, the first time's probably gonna have to go very slow. Getting used to the machine and just to make sure that we just go smooth. And then from there, I think we should be much better.
Okay, can we move on? I know the Scout project, she's not here tonight. so-
No, but I'm gonna report, because I
Oh, okay.
talked to her, and her project is finished, but it is not where she originally was gonna do it, because that is not town land. So this is my fault that people come to us with these projects and they say they want to do them, and I assume they've done all their research, and so I say, sure. But Amy told her she can't do it there. She has put it up at the playground on Wilsonville Road.
It's there. I saw it because I was like,
If you want to go check it out, that's where it is.
Yeah,
It's done.
I
Oh,
saw it from
okay.
the car, but I haven't looked
Nice
at it. I didn't know if that was theirs.
yeah, I didn't either. That's why I didn't stop and look. But I was like, hey, somebody's doing a project like that on a trail.
Okay.
So for future, I mean, it was the same thing with the woman who wanted to do the plant sign.
Yeah,
We don't,
Yeah, I thought that
It's
was the
not-
same place too,
it's,
wasn't it?
well, it was a different part of that, but none of that, I guess, is town land. It's all,
It's just an
it's just
easement.
the easement for the trail, but we can't do benches or anything without permission from the bank or whoever owns it now.
It is privately
Yeah.
owned now by a developer who is going to develop it. So this really,
really?
yes, but don't be alarmed. Don't be alarmed.
Oh, I'm not alarmed. It's just, how many times have we heard this?
Well, the ink is dry on the contract,
Oh,
so
good.
he's working up his plans.
Great.
So anything that would be in there, you know, while they're doing the development, I mean, why even bother? But he's aware of all the easements. He's aware of all the sensitivities in terms of well, obviously there's wetlands there, But all of the other potential sensitivities, he's a sharp guy.
But
So
that side of 12 is the same as the mill guy?
it is not the same as the mill guy. No, no, but they have met each other now and are sort of
Okay.
communicating with one another.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Hopefully they stay friendly.
What type of development?
He's just in concept right now. The original plan from years ago, which is now expired, was for a straight up subdivision. The last time I spoke to him, he was at least considering the idea of actually doing a short-term rental, like an Airbnb, like development, like almost like timeshares. I don't know if that's going to be his final answer or not. Now, the good thing about that latter is if that's what he wants to do, it is definitely in his best interest to preserve as much of the scenic quality there. But he's sensitive to that regardless. So once he's ready to bring a real concept plan forward, I'm interested to see it. I've had a couple of sit downs with him, and
That's a huge need here. If you got something that you want to attract people, they need to be able to stay.
yeah, well,
in
lodging is
proximity.
one of those things that comes up. So like I say, the last time I talked to him, that's where he was leaning. He could change his mind again until he's got a final concept plan. But I myself am curious to see where he lands.
And he's also doing the shirt factory.
Yes, he also bought Quinn's Shirt Shop and the
Okay.
49 acres behind that. It was all one big transaction.
Well,
It's
The brick building.
Up on the
by
hill.
The mill.
Yeah.
On the
across
hill.
from the mill, up on the hill,
Oh, yeah.
where the water tank is.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
mansard roof.
I know
with-
now. Yep.
It
Okay.
looks like what it obviously
When
was at one
someone
point,
started
which was
doing
storefront
something a few
retail
years
with
ago and
apartments.
stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, just on that, before I forget it, I have to send you, Michael Underhill sent me some images to the 12 town.
Oh, for the tree houses? Yes, perfect.
So the Airbnb is on the airline. With the Underhill. What do you know about that?
The what?
They have 3 Airbnb units they built on their
Mhm.
property right on the airline.
Who's this?
Alicia Underhill,
Alicia
and her
Underhill.
husband.
She used to be on the-
Valerie's
on the
asking you to
shows.
speak up a little bit. She's having a hard time hearing you.
Okay, next time, next,
Next.
next.
Yeah, we're moving the microphone closer to Karen. That's the quiet end of the table anyway.
Yeah, I toured those when they had the open house, or 2 of the 3 that were done there. Very, very clever. And the artistic ability of that couple.
And they do have a sign on the, like a
Anyone?
tiny one. It's like this big that says
Treehouse.
TH. I think it's
Treehouse.
TH. I don't think it says tree.
No, it does say, oh, on the trail.
On the
it says
trail, it says
something, yeah.
TH or something.
But on the road, it says the tree house. And that's one of them. The second one was built to kind of a Harry Potterish theme. And the third one, what they were working on.
Nice.
So there
that's
are
good.
places to stay now, but
That's
they're all
good.
booked
That's,
up.
that's a
Yeah.
definite.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Okay, so we on to the train wreck site, sign repair.
So on the back of your agenda is a pretty indecipherable quote from Graphics Unlimited. So the interpretation, after talking to him, is if you add up the 196 and the 125, so that's the die cut white vinyl on the back of the 2 signs, multiply that by 2, we end up with, so it's an installation and the material. You following me?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be 6, that would be
Option 2 has 3 quantity. And
option 2, but as that's per each, and so 2 instead. I came out with $642.40. And then what we were talking about last time is the board that starts the trail, do we want an image on the back side? And so I tried to get clarification on that. So the option is the $392.80 is cutting another piece of vinyl that exactly matches the die cut on the other one and trying to line those up.
Ooh,
Which seems crazy to me. And he said, yeah, it's really hard. The second option, the 259, is if we just decide to do a squared up image on the back as you leave the trail, go back to the parking lot. He said, well, that will look like a decal. That doesn't bother me. I don't know if we want to do the second image or just forget it. but that seems a lot easier than trying to do an image and then try to line it up as a second die cut. Seems really risky. So that's the other 259. Plus design. So I don't know how much design, if it's just a square photo that we, you know, the bridge, a panorama of the bridge or something like that.
He's ciphering.
642.
And again, just to clarify, we still have not received the final payout from the CT Humanities grant. That grant is closed. It always takes them a while to get your last payout out. And that is going to be, I think I may have said 997 in the last meeting. It's actually 947. So anything that comes in at $947 or less in this option is covered by the grant that we've already been awarded for and closed out. So, you know, you don't have to pinch pennies as long as it comes in under that. You get the option that you prefer.
So, but I don't want to make this decision. I want it to be historical society.
One, not having to kind of match the signs, maybe on the backside, just having a, you know, a long skinny view of, you know, a different view of a train site, put that on the backside, like a decal or whatever.
And then there's a protect, this includes a protective coating over that. So historical needs to pick an image. And then I'll do my, it comes out to 901.60 plus whatever they're going to charge for design. And I think, you know, a little bit more than what we have. I think Joe, what might
901.60, that's under the 947.
Yeah,
She's saying
what I'm
exclusive of any design charges.
Oh.
Now, if it's the die cuts to the pieces they already have, I don't know why there's any design costs in there, but.
No, the design, I mean, the die cut white vinyl is the 196 plus the 125 for each.
Okay.
So that comes to 642.
Okay.
That's what I figured out. You can do it again.
I just did it. But it's
Okay.
642. That's why I was saying, I don't know what the 901 was. And then the tax is going to be added.
Well, that's the 642.
Oh.
And then if we do a panorama sign of another image on the back side, that would be the additional 259.20.
Brings you to your 900.
Well, yeah,
No,
does anybody?
That's what it is.
Full coverage print.
Well, he's saying a full coverage printed image, which we don't want because we want to leave the
So it
window
should be
up
cheaper
there.
than that.
Yes, right. It should be cheaper than
So we're
that,
still within
actually.
them.
He said that, yeah. So unless somebody has any,
Did he say that the design was separate?
if there was design, like, you know, we have type that they did an inset box, you know, if they have to set up, but if we just give them a photo and say, we want it this width, there's no design, really, right?
I would assume
I would
so, but
assume.
we would have to clarify that obviously at the
Yeah.
point we submit it again.
So unless somebody, you know, you're gonna have a little bit, you'll have the white vinyl that they put on with the die cut, and then you'll have that image. So there'll be a little bit of an edge where that is not flush. That doesn't bother me.
Doesn't bother me either. You know, I mean, the fact is that if you can get this up as soon as possible,
Well, the,
you know, I mean, it's not
Yeah.
like 5 years down the road that, you know, you're going, well, we're still.
right, by then it'll be faded in, right? So-
Well, you
We'll
redo
all
it.
be faded as well.
Yes.
Well, right, I can't really see anything. So do you want to run this by Joe? Want me to? Just before we go ahead? All right.
It's
Talk to him about picking out a picture.
But the picture's gonna go behind the very first sign.
So like flush along the bottom. Okay.
And it's not as if we don't have money and we can add to it if we need it.
Yeah, you might
That's
as
a
well
little bit
use some of it. I mean, you know, for our
like that.
purposes rather
That's the
than.
die cut. and
We don't know,
that's
we don't have our financial guy here.
Spend it. We don't know what we got. Spend it.
Well,
Yeah. He spends a
so
lot.
far, nothing that we're talking about is coming out of trails
Right.
on this particular project.
Right.
Well, even more so, even if the trails has to put in a few hundred to get what they really want,
One.
you know,
and
I don't say, you know, spend 5,000, but
Historical could help too, because I think it was Joe didn't really like the
Yeah,
signs,
so-
where they were.
get what we can
The
get.
good news is the one in the middle, everybody agrees is fine. And was the one that is the actual in situ, like look through and this is where
Yeah.
the train tracks went. So mercifully, that is the one that operates as intended.
Right, that's the only one that really looks at what it's looking at, right, yeah.
As far as the train wreck goes, are we any further on starting the work or
No.
getting bids or
No,
anything?
no,
we're
no,
still
no, not a
in the
shred of
legal
work.
Stuff with.
Not a shred of work can
Butler?
start there until I have signed contracts. So that con call I have on Thursday with Brian Wilson and somebody else, so part of that grant, and this is a piece now that's created a little logical puzzle for me, does involve the acquisition of that 1.1 acres from the Butlers. So now CT Deep is asking for some more clarity around the acquisition, but the acquisition is part of what's supposed to be funded out of that grant. So I can't. So I just need to get some more information on what they will accept at this point. And it may be that we have to go, for example, to the Conservation Commission to ask for some of their open space fund money to pay for a survey of the actual portion just there where we need acquisition. But that might not be necessary either. So that's why I need to make very clear with CTD. They are moving like molasses with all of the grant contracts. The Brownfield one over here, the CT Deep one, everybody is so backed up. In fact, ECCD has a grant that was awarded to Judy Rondo like 2 years ago to do work on behalf of Thompson that they are just getting to now. So I don't expect that our contracts will take that long, but no work can start on anything that we have described that is dependent on what they are funding until after the ink is dry on that contract, which essentially means no work can be done because the part that CT Deep is paying for is the surveying, the site design, the engineering, the acquisition, and the legal cost. It's all the upfront stuff.
And
And
that's for the whole train wreck park area, not just the.
That's for the whole
Train
area. And then the 154, 157, whatever it is that's set aside out of the ARPA is assigned to the turntable, the pavilion, and the traffic calming stuff on the road. That was the best matchup I could make to the available funds to the tasks we described. So a good portion of the way there. The most expensive piece of that master project was the parking lot.
Right.
That was hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars with all the clearing and grading. And so that is off the table until I can get another grant.
And committing to doing this, is that going to tie your hands? Because you were using the ARPA funds to leverage other grants, but if you
No, all
used your ARPA
all that
funds-
stuff, all the pieces are in order. This piece was never a part of the leveraged piece outside the CT Deep grant. So it was leveraged into that grant. We still only got the 16 grand back on it. So now that 154, 157, whatever it is dedicated to this project, can only be used for this project, and has no relationship to anything else I leveraged any ARPA funds.
Good answer.
It was complex.
Okay. Moving on to events. Maker Fair.
So Brian Levent has volunteered to sell the t-shirts for us. And so we don't need to have a table there. If anybody wants to spend an hour there.
Well, I was going to volunteer, but if he's still.
Well, I asked him, you
Okay.
know, I mean, I might do an hour there. If you did an hour there,
Yeah.
then they wouldn't be,
It would
they
be-
could take a break.
It would be helpful to
And-
have somebody other than just Brian,
Well, yes.
because I
Well, I
guarantee
didn't
you,
know
he's
if-
gonna get called away to deal with something during that day.
Well, I didn't know if he had a crew or anything, so.
I don't know either, but I would assume that the volunteer pool is coming from this group, Thompson Together and EDC. And there's a lot of overlap on those three groups.
That's me for 3.
Yeah, me
Oh,
too.
So you planning to be there for part of the time?
Yeah, I'll be there Friday to help set up, and I'll be there all day Saturday
No,
until I
it's
have to
what,
leave
11
because I have something going on
12
that
to
night.
4?
11 to 4, the hours open to the public. Vendors are going to be setting up starting at 9. No cars will be allowed into the park unless there is a valid handicap sticker after 10:30 in the morning. And then we're gonna go shop till you drop.
So Lucille, why don't you let me know what time you want to do, and I'll try to like do a block of time, and I'll ask Brian if
Well,
he
that's
wants
what,
setup help or what.
that's what I was gonna say, you know, I'm willing to get there, but you know, as long as I know what time I'm
All right,
supposed to be
you and
there.
I'll
We'll,
talk to him I'll
and
talk to
email
you.
me, yeah,
Yes,
because I'll
okay.
keep, you know, like, what'd you say, 10:30, 9:30? 9,
10:30 is when the field is closed to vehicles. No vehicles can be left,
oh, I always park
In
at the library and walk
but
over.
11 o'clock is open to the public.
Okay, but if he needs help, you know, before
Setup,
time,
I'll
yeah,
find out. Okay.
this Saturday should be okay.
And I'm assuming he'll have a default map.
Default maps will be there.
Do you have a booth?
I do.
But you don't need your stuff out of the art show, right?
No, none of that
Okay.
stuff.
Do a few hats.
Do you have a lot of groups coming in?
88 vendors.
Wow,
88
that's really
vendors, so
good.
that's 8 more than last year. I think we had 60 the first time we did it, which was when we did it in place of Community Day. And then 80 last year and 88.
Good. Okay. All right. So, you know, Karen, just email me, you know, what's best for you or best for me, you know. Because I had thought that'd be there with Last Green Valley, but if they're not going to be there, then they're not going to be there.
It wasn't on their event calendar.
Well, that's what I
Yeah.
wondered, you know, because when I saw Bill the other night, I would have, you know, he would have said, aren't you going to, you know, and
Yeah.
he didn't. So
So the main difference between Maker Faire and Community Day is that Maker Faire is just that.
It's money.
If you have something that you made that you're selling,
Yeah.
you are welcome to set up. If you are just a service or a nonprofit, there's really no tie-in for it. So we make some minor exceptions for trails because technically you guys don't make those shirts yourselves, but close enough. Karen does. Close enough for horseshoes. Same thing with the Historical Society. We put some side because they bring their stuff from the gift shop now.
Yeah.
That's close enough.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Spring Outdoors, Connecticut Trail Day, June 4th and 5th.
So John's got an event, nothing's changed.
No. My event's on the Saturday, the 4th, in the morning it starts. I want to say it's 9 or 9:30. I can look it up.
It might be in list.
Yeah, it hasn't changed. It's a hike, yeah. So we're starting at Cheney Road and Redbridge Road, and we're gonna do the Orange Trail on one side of the river, go over the new Blaine Bridge and come back on the other side of the river. We're gonna stop at the Blaine Bridge to take a break and, you know, so I told them to bring their own, like a snack or something to have on that hike.
A little bubbly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be
All right, the
there.
time is not in the last minute, so
Okay.
if you want
2
to.
seconds, I'll tell you
share
the
that.
time. But
That's before our next meeting, correct?
yeah, it's the Saturday before the next meeting.
Bringing, or do we need to bring our trailer to that event or no?
No, because we're just gonna meet and then as soon as, you know, the time hack goes, we'll leave and do the hike. You know, when it's done, it's done. I'm gonna say it's 9:30. Not gonna lie, it's not on the trails page. I didn't put it on the trails page. It is on the Connecticut Trails Day page as an event for them. So, but I'll put it on our calendar too. For an event.
You're pre-registered?
They're opening the registration, I think, this weekend, the 10th, May 10th. I don't know what day that is.
So you don't.
So I have no idea who's
May
going
10th
enough.
is Tuesday.
Yeah. For some reason, May 10th sticks in my head is when they open up. They keep sending me emails about updates and stuff, but I have to go on my dashboard and see who registers for it, but it wasn't a requirement to hike that day by me in the event. I have a question too. I spoke to somebody from the town about the bridge, the Blaine Bridge, somebody who was at the event and had a very big concern about the little boy who was riding his bike. And the fact that there's nothing on the sides over there to keep people from she was asking about trails and I was just like, that's not our property, so we can't really do anything. And she said that she would contact Ed and send him an email about her concerns with that. And I thought that was a good idea, but I just don't know if she was like, I was having a heart attack. I was so nervous that that little boy was going to go over the edge as Mr. Blumenthal was speaking.
I am going to go out on a limb and say everybody who was there was watching that kid.
Where was the parent?
Well, he was.
Well,
there,
I mean, he was there with the parents, but yeah, I mean, you're right. It's not under the town's jurisdiction. It is under, to USA's property, but I'm sure Ed would be very happy to have that feedback, and they may, in fact, consider putting some guardrails.
There's one guardrail on the other side, the little fence, split rail fence on the other side, just on one side, but there's no hill coming down that leads to the bridge where somebody could
Kids
just kind
want
of
to go
go.
swimming and they wouldn't let them.
But he had actually told me because I went there before the bridge cutting ceremony and there's no sign. So I wrote to him and I said, do you want me to post this? There's no sign saying we can't use it. And he asked me to hold back until after the ribbon cutting because they wanted to do some more site work. I mean, they did do some, but I just didn't know if they still had some more to do. But that person said that they were going to contact Ed. They knew who he was and everything. So like, okay. So I just wanted to let you know that.
So any other comments about the ribbon cutting?
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, what a nice event. Everything went to plan, including the weather. Yay!
And the swans and the eagle.
Paddling against the wind getting there was a little rough.
Was it?
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, that wind was really blowing. But
John had to bail me out to detach the trailer because I'm too stupid to figure it out.
this thing won't come out. Like it will come out. I'm like, Brian, I'm on my way home. I'll drive right by. I'll help you out.
How to get my truck off of it. I just couldn't get my ball out of it.
So I go over there and I go, did you lift this? And the ball goes on the ground. Thank you.
I got it there. I backed it up and everything.
For whatever it's worth, I mean, it was such a nice sort of partnership between Trails and TLGV and USACE. I mean, not that we haven't been partners in the past, but sort of maintaining that relationship a little more actively. Like maybe making a point of inviting, maybe you do, Karen, I don't know, email inviting Ed to dial in on this just to say what's going on at USACE, because they're gonna have that other big grant project it's gonna start. I mean, that's not gonna start immediately, but it's gonna be big for them, upgrading the campground, electricity and paving the boat launch area. And they might want to partner on events like that. And there's no reason not to. I mean, you use their network, right? They've got a huge network, much bigger than ours. Just like the way we partner with TLGB. Why not?
Yeah.
We used to do a little more when Kathy was there.
They want Z maps of their own now.
Yeah.
I have to email them to get them in contact with my sales guy up there.
But that'd be nice to promote it because there's no other way to promote anything that's there. You know what I mean? Like all those trails are so nice and like they've actually done trail work. I walked out. If you've gone out there, there's a spot where it goes right close to the river and it always floods out when it floods. And they actually moved the trail to go around that, which again, you wouldn't know unless you went out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
on
so
the walkie.
I still haven't
showed
circled
where the
back
old trail
with
was.
Ed to put him in touch, but that would actually be nice because even though they wouldn't be a part of our series, if they're the same size and shape, and you can get ours and theirs there in their little center there, which I assume is partially open to the public, then that's good for everybody. So
Yeah.
I have to remember to circle back and do that.
Just point of information that on our website, we only have a link because they didn't want us to put their map on, directly on the site, the links to their map, but if he wants to change that.
Maybe. It's always worth asking again.
Okay, moving on to Little League.
Little League, we are theoretically going to be soliciting participation starting in Maker Faire. It was incredibly poor timing that both Brian and Amanda went out on parental leave at the
Tell
same
me.
time,
Yeah.
because we lost a lot of opportunity to drum up sponsorships. I mean, I personally talked to Neil Patel and put the sponsorship form in his hand, and Dave Labs said he would sponsor with the t-shirts. Now, I did submit a grant to TLGV. If they come back and award us that grant, Lyanne, block your ears, then we will hustle and put this on the ground. If we do not get that grant award, we will probably put it off for a year. But the other thing that happened is we got the NIPS money from the state.
Oh, we did.
Oh, we did. Now that NIPS money has not been designated for any project. For those of you who are unaware, the state in last year's legislative session passed a 5-cent surcharge per unit on NIPS, but it is not a deposit. In other words, if you pick it up off the side of the road, you can't turn it back in for your nickel. But each retail outlet that sells them, has to collect the 5 cents, and then the towns get the value of the 5 cents returned back to them twice a year on October 1st and April 1st. So we got 2 checks around April 1st, or they were cut April 1st. We got them last week or the week before. So it must represent the point between the legislative session and October 1st and then October 1 to April, or however they
Based
calculate
on
it.
population? What's it based on? How much we get out of that?
How much we sell, how many NIPS are sold in a community?
Oh, really?
It's per unit. It's as far as I'm aware.
So that's why, well, the package store in Quinnebog, I go in occasionally, and and I thought $1.09. So that's why because they were all 99 cents before.
So that does make sense. So anyway, it was just over $20,000.
Wow.
At a nickel a pop, I'm going to point out.
Yeah.
So we got a big
Well, we picked it up.
alcohol problem. in it.
But that money's
Well,
not
no worse than anywhere else,
No,
right? Those
that's for
things,
sure.
those
But I'm
things fly
getting all
up.
the Massachusetts nips on my street. We don't get any credit for that.
Well, we don't get any credit for Massachusetts, but they don't have any deposit on it at all. Anyways, the point of that
Wow.
is that those funds have not yet been designated. Now, the transfer station is going to have needs, and certainly a great deal of that should go to that. But as a one-time startup, whether it's this season or next season, I think that is an appropriate use to get this thing off the ground. So we've got some options. Some of these things are dependent on whether TLGV turns around with the grant award. We may do an abbreviated Litter League season this year for that purpose, but just the loss of Amanda and Brian at the same time, I couldn't be drumming up sponsorships the way I have with other things. I just couldn't do it.
Tara,
Yes, Lyanne.
the committee has the grants and they are reviewing them. They have another week or so before the deadline. So a decision should be made sometime, I'd say mid-May.
That's more or less what I thought. And we will accommodate for whatever comes our way.
It's out of my control.
I know. I promise I haven't been bullying Lois or Fran on this at all.
Okay, so we're on to social media, PR, outreach, maps, brochures, flyers, and decals. Don't have anything? Okay, reports from neighboring town. We don't have any neighbors.
Right.
Okay, equipment, tools, status, maintenance.
So we haven't had anything. I want to say that we do need a blade sharpened, but I don't know where to bring that or how to do that. I tried to use our little handsaw, not the chainsaw, the one on the pole, and it was really dull. Like,
Got a
yeah,
smaller chain on that than a regular chainsaw.
it does, yeah. But I think it needs to be sharpened.
How about the place we bought it from in,
I just don't know. So I know we allocated money last
I
month
know,
for
I know they
maintenance
shop it in
expenses.
Quinnebog, but I don't know what they shop it. I know they'll
Oh.
shop in the, you know, the
Oh,
blades.
so they'll do it. I'm almost sure because they sell them. Then I can take it to them and see what they
we should
say.
get an extra blade.
Well, we have two blades right now. I bought one in a while ago, but they're both dull.
Okay, so they
So
both
we
need
do
to be,
need to get
okay.
that sharpened.
All right. And money already in the.
Yeah, from last month's minutes.
Yeah,
I
we
reallocated.
did what, $200 as, you know,
Yeah, and I don't think it's to sharpen those little chains. It shouldn't be that much. They may even say, I don't even know, they might say they need to be replaced. I don't know a lot about those things, but
Yeah.
if they do, then I don't think they're expensive either. I think they're like $20, $20. I mean, the blade's only 12 inches or something.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not that, it's
yeah.
just made for
probably
trimming.
double from last year.
Yeah.
Know what you look
But
at.
I will say on the airline trail up by the mast line, there's some tree branches that kind of hang low, but we needed a pole saw to do it. And I didn't bring that one to do it this Saturday when we were there. So some of that could be, I've been up there snowshoeing in the winter and the snow really just slows them down where you're gonna kind of to get underneath them. So,
But we have something tall enough.
oh yeah, we have
Yeah,
a pole saw that
okay,
I could reach
okay.
to you. I mean, it's very long. So it's just a matter of trimming up some of the pines, not a lot. So future trail day, hopefully before the winter, and it should be good.
Okay. All right, moving on, agenda items for future meetings.
Need to start putting turkey trot back on as an agenda as we start to move towards that. It's not an agenda item, but if you saw the picture I posted on the trails, we had our presentation of the big check to Teague, $5,500 and change from last year's turkey trot. So that was very nice. I thought the picture came out well. And I believe Brian Levency is trying to get something in the Villager for that. We also had the delay of both of them being out of the office, but we finally got out our thank you letter that I drafted to our sponsors and people involved from last year, thanking them for that record year of accomplishments, basically that we lost a year. So it didn't come close to making up for that, but we appreciated the efforts because some of them and their businesses still weren't back to normal and we could still really use their support going forward. I may also draft a different letter for some of the people we've been trying to get to sponsor and just haven't come on board. Something to the effect of, 40 businesses in Thompson are supporting the turkey trot and would like you to be part of our team. And we've asked in the past, and we hope this is the year to get you on board because I want to get that out a little earlier. I normally start going after people in August, and by then a lot of them don't have the budget left or don't have time to commit to it. So we can get some of those businesses aware. People like Numa, who I've been after for 3 years, being on my street, just to say, not give them an excuse that, oh, we didn't know about it. I want to get that process started.
The deadline for October will be before the next meeting. I believe we're shooting for a June 1st, October deadline. So if anybody wants to do anything for the fall, to get in the brochure, you need to get it in. If you just want to be online, you can hold off.
And what are the dates for Walktober, Lion?
September 18th to October 31st.
And the turkey, do we have a date for the turkey trot? Because that usually gets put in there.
Yes, we do.
Even though it's out of that date range, they usually accommodate
It's out of
that.
the date, but we put it in, I think, in the past.
Yeah,
November
we have
13th.
13th.
13th of November,
Yes.
okay. Anybody have any ideas for a Walktober or anything? I'm gonna say, I know last year we did not do the tri-state marker hike. Skipped it last year just because did it the year before.
Last year.
That is a very popular one.
Yeah, it is.
When did we do it? When we went to that culvert that went under the trail. That was the last time I went on it with you. And we had about 15 people or so on that. I thought that was last year.
I don't think it was last year, because
No?
last year I remember saying we weren't gonna do it because it was a like really busy one.
Was it just not an October event and was something else?
We did a Walktober. I did a paddle in September, late September, I want to say, because that's the one where the family showed up with a guy and his dog, and the dog pretty much swam the whole way up the river. He kept throwing the ball, and that dog kept going to get it, and he'd jump on his paddleboard, and then he'd jump off the paddleboard, like and the dog the whole time, not to be gross, but didn't use the bathroom because he was in the water, and he took the biggest pee as soon as he got back. I didn't think he was there for 5 minutes, I swear, but it was, it was a long paddle up and back, but that dog swam the whole way, and I asked them, I'm like, where's the dog gonna go? And they're like, dog will mostly be swimming. I was, and it did. It was impressive. And it was one of those blow up paddle boards. Like he took it out of his trunk in a case and blew it up. Yeah. So that was last year. I did that last year. So I don't know if we do the, I'll say this, if we do the tri-state marker hike, maybe we break it up into two and do one in the morning and maybe one in the afternoon, and maybe it would split the crowd if somebody was interested in doing the other one. I mean, I'll do one. I don't have a problem doing that.
I consider doing something on a Sunday too, if that's open, because we always seem to do them on Saturday. And there's a lot of, but if you look at the schedule, and Emma could might know, it just seems like a lot of these events are Saturday and there's less on Sunday, maybe because of church services and stuff. I don't know, but you're always competing against so many other things going on.
So I'm saying maybe if we do one in the morning and then we do one in the afternoon, if people wanted to go to church, they could go in the afternoon one, and people who maybe want to just go out. I'm saying on a Sunday, I don't think that's a bad idea. I just want to know if somebody else wants to do the other one, so then I don't have to necessarily do both.
Really help you. I don't know that I have the knowledge to do it on my own yet.
Okay, so far ahead.
I know. But again, their deadline is before our next meeting, so.
Oh, yeah. We have to put in who the leader is.
We can list, it doesn't matter. I could list myself as the leader, and then we could, like, they're not gonna say, well, he's not here right now, this fight can't happen.
Yeah. We can make changes to whatever is put in up until it goes to press, but we need to know what's going on. We need to have a good idea of the date and the time and the hike, and it can change up until press time, but we're trying to get it organized during the month of June.
Okay. So September 18th gives us the 18th, 25th, and then we're in October.
Well, the leaves are better the later you go.
The 18th is the kickoff, which is Taste of the Valley at the Public House.
Oh, nice.
So that's our actual first event.
Is it $95 again?
Probably more. Price has gone up.
Community Day is the first.
It's the first Saturday in October, which
That's
I think
the
might
first.
be the first.
It is the first. So, and I'll also say the 7th, 8th, and 9th is the icebreaker at the Speedway. So for me, that's not a particularly good weekend because I work that weekend, but
The
also
following
the
weekend is
traffic.
Columbus Day weekend, right?
15, 16 is the 17th. I don't have that in my mark as a holiday. I don't know why, but probably is.
I'm assuming.
Columbus Day is the
No.
10th.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, that's usually.
It's not listed. Mine says
No,
Indigenous
it's
People
the
Day.
10th is Columbus.
Well, yeah.
Well, better choice, but we still have to remember to say it.
Right.
Yeah, I've got it as both of them.
Yeah.
Indigenous.
Do we want to look at a date? Do we want to do, say, Saturday, the 25th of September?
Sure, on the 20th and 21st. What day, 25th?
If that's good for people, I'm gonna say that.
I think the leader chooses. You know what I mean? It's like, it's good for people. If you're gonna lead it, then
So
you
I am, but I
kinda
want to
like-
try and get some participants to help. I don't want to be the only guy.
Well, my calendar is at home, the analog on the wall calendar, so. The thing I normally do on the last Sunday of the month, not gonna be that Sunday. If anything, it's October 2nd. So I might be free on the 25th this year.
All right, so let's say the 25th. Okay. I'll put it in for the 25th, and again, we can try and plan too. And if I have to go to the tri-state marker twice in one day, it's not the end of the world, but
Whoa. Once was enough.
yeah. But I'm saying if it spreads it out, I've done it before where we've had 80 people, and it's just
Yeah,
tough
yeah.
because
That's.
by the time you get to the tri-state marker, there's still people just getting off the airline trail. And then you get people up there and they're like, all right, like, when are we going? It's like, not everybody's here. I don't know. So,
Part of that could be by registration, and then you'd have a better idea of how many were going. I know it's a pain in the neck to gather registrations, but.
I guess I'll think about it before I do it. So if we do it at, I'd say 09 and then maybe 1 o'clock. 10, 11, 12, kind of a 4-hour walk, but only maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most.
Yeah, but yeah, clear out the parking lot, get more people in it.
Mm.
Some people just stay and they hike the other direction.
Right, clock won't get set back until after that, right? I want to say
Getting
it's the-
set back anymore? Didn't it?
Oh, I don't know if that
Didn't
went
the Senate-
Not till next year.
Not till
We
next
still do it this year.
But I don't think it happens till like November, right? Isn't it like the first weekend in November they move?
What's that daylight?
Yeah, daylight savings.
Yeah,
I feel
it-
like it's usually around when we're coming back from our vacation, which
Yeah.
is the first weekend in November.
Yeah, it's November. And then
Oh,
I think
because-
one more year and that's it. They're gonna decide which one they want to do permanently.
Daylight savings time ends, yes, on
Okay, so can we wrap this up, folks?
November 6th.
I want to see the Bruins win.
Watching the Yankees tied with Toronto.
You're watching what?
Yankees in Toronto.
Some of us haven't eaten supper as well, so.
There's one item I'd like to bring up. We canoed West Thompson Lake. Sewer line, full of trash. Literally trash. Can we do anything or do we have to? Hey?
No, that's the Army Corps.
Army
Yeah,
Corps,
so
you
if
know.
we
you-
want to, if we want to go
I
pick
would
up
think
trash,
anyone
they'll
can
say,
pick up trash.
yeah.
I don't think they mind.
But they would have to know it. Yeah, they would.
If you want to do it as a concentrated effort, they would appreciate
Oh,
knowing that
they
you were
would,
there, but.
About
'cause
working with them, like you said, they have more.
we
maybe
used to
other
do
connections, so
Westville
if we,
in
like-
Southbridge and Sturbridge, but the guy that was in charge was always there. And he was the one that, you know, because like everything else, you got to sign off that, you know, liability and all that whoopee
Especially if
stuff.
you're right along the water's edge and you fall in and.
I mean, actually, the Army Corps has these forms. I mean,
Yeah.
but I haven't used them since Kathy disappeared, but
No.
you know, they want to know the volunteer hours also because they get credit when
Yeah.
they do. Speaking of which, I hope everybody.
So
Stop keeping track, because I asked you and you said you
I'll
would.
just say, if we do get Litter League off the ground, that can
That would
also
be-
be
that
one
would
of the,
be one of
one of the
those.
designated spots, which actually would be a great spot because it's not on a road. You don't have to worry
Yeah.
about road safety.
Yeah.
But if it's a concentrated need, so anything like that, going back to the other topic, you know, keep your little list of where is it really gross and where does it really need constant attention. So there are options, I guess, is the point.
Motion to adjourn?
Sure.
All in favor?
All right.
Okay.
Have a good
13
evening,
minutes
everyone.
past. See, we're
Thank
not
you
bad.
all.
Half an hour.
Thank you
40 minutes
all
late.
for your patience.
What's that?